How's it going, interwebs? Matt Sardo here in the Monkeys Fighting Robots studio, basically my basement. I've got an advanced review of Blood Tree #1 from Image Comics. This book is a must-read, and I'm going to explain to you why. Okay, let's start off with the basics. Blood Tree #1 hits your local comic book store on February 1st. From Image Comics, the book is written by Peter J. Tomasi with art by Maxim Śimić. John Kalisz drops the color, and you will read Rob Leigh's letterwork. Blood Tree is a New York murder mystery, and I mean the city. Tomasi writes from a familiar place that feels like a modern 80s blockbuster film. Like, does that make sense? There's some like nostalgia that where it makes you feel comfortable, but then there's like today's sensibility. The first issue sets up the mystery and puts the hooks into the reader, me. But the book doesn't reveal too much. There's lots of unknowns, and Blood Tree could be like a slow burn or explode in the second issue. Like, I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go. Because of this, I'm eagerly awaiting the next issue. Śimić's art has a grit to it, which works well for the story. Life isn't perfect, and Blood Tree feels like a comic book that's going to get under your skin. It did for me. The first issue definitely gets under my skin. The angelic nature of the murders, like, I love that. I love when people try to explain what God means to them. It's because we don't know what God is. So this is always interesting. You have a writer, you have an artist, and then they're trying to do some like godly things, and I'm very interested to see what their interpretation is. And then the way that Śimić places Detective Azzaro on a panel, you can feel the weight of his family and job slowly breaking him down. And then the panel structure choices add to the slow burn of the story because there's lots of back and forth and there's close-ups that gnaw at you with uneasy tension. There's some things that happen in this book where you're like, oh man, I don't think I like where this is going to go. I'm getting some major True Detective vibes from this book, like season 1. Like that's where I'm feeling with like the artwork and the character layouts and the story. Like that's what I'm feeling. And I'm very excited about that. And then you have Kalish's color palette. This is where things are interesting to me because I felt like his color palette was bright, and so I'm definitely excited to see as the story unfolds, the mystery unfolds, and if things get darker or things get lighter, and like how they use color to emphasize the different situations that the characters are going to go through, and then if there's more murders or more chaos, like what happens there. I definitely overanalyze color probably way too much in my head and how things are laid out and how everything has meaning. So for me, like I was very interested to read this book. I read it digitally, so it's probably brighter that way. When I hold it in my hands, I'll take a few pictures and send things out and comment on that. But that's interesting. I'm very interested to see how it unfolds. And then also, like, the book has a lot to unpack. Blood Tree #1 like sets up the mystery, sets up all the characters, and so you have Leigh's letterwork. It lets the story unfold naturally. He creates a flow that allows me, the reader, to become part of the story or become one with the story. And that's the thing is I'm looking at these panels now, and as Detective Azzaro is like looking at things happen here and there, I was able to get absorbed in this book. And then that was exciting. I love murder mysteries. I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, okay, let's try to figure out the mystery. And then too, like I said before, I love when people try to explain or use God in a story because we are all kind of doing our own interpretation of what we think God is or what we think people would do with God and everything like that. And who knows how much God will play a role in this book. The 80s feel combined with the angelic nature of the murders makes Blood Tree #1 a must read for me. That's what I got to tell you. Like, go talk to your comic book store and tell them, put this on your pull list. I think that's where I am in this because I have no clue where the mystery is going to go. I'm fully excited to enjoy the ride of the mystery that Tomasi is setting up. Like, that's where I am. I'm like, this is like, okay, it's like Sunday night and I'm like turning on HBO Max. I'm like, what am I going to watch? And it's literally for me, Blood Tree is where I'm at. I'm like clicking the channel. I'm like, give me the second issue. Let me binge this. Like, that's where I'm at. I want to read that second issue because I want to see. There's going to be some twists and turns to this book. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Detective Azzaro has got some problems. It hasn't been revealed yet, but you can see it from the artwork. You can see it from the panel layout of like family and co-workers and just things that have been just seeded. And they're not even like naturally unsaid. I mean, but it's like you can feel things getting ready to come to the surface, the bubble over. And then you have this crazy murder mystery. Like it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. I'm excited for it. Thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And definitely comment below what like detective stories you've enjoyed or what comic books you've been reading that you've enjoyed and how they get under the skin. What do they use in the TV, the cinema, or the books that get under your skin and that you're like, oh man, every time you read something, you're like, oh man, this it got me hooked already. For me, it's the Christianity, the religious aspect, like totally hooks me into a murder mystery. Let me know what hooks you.